what else could go wrong for the West Coast? I mean, we have the Cascadia Fault, we have the San Andreas Fault, we have multiple branching fault lines. Now we had the devastating news that there is scientific evidence that the Cascadia Fault and the San Andreas Fault have triggered each other in the past. What does that mean? They can do it again. So if you're living in Oregon, in the state of Washington or British Columbia, Canada, and you see the San Andreas Fault going off with the big one, then usually people would have been like, okay, let's help them. It's not us. No, you can now be very, very careful, because that could mean Cascadia Fault is also triggered, which would trigger now a disaster of biblical proportions for the whole West Coast. But I'm not talking about that. Guys, there's more where shizzy can hit the fizzy. I have to say it again. Scientists discover a seismic hotspot in the US that could trigger devastating magnitude 8 earthquakes. 8. So where is it? It's in an area that I love dearly, where I have been multiple times, an area where people that are not well educated about the seismic risk there would say, well, I'm a little bit off the Cascadia Fault and maybe at the end of the San Andreas Fault, maybe it's safer here. It isn't, guys. What am I talking about? The discovery that they made was groundbreaking. Groundbreaking. The word is really in the sense of this is what really will happen. Scientists have found previously concealed fault lines along California's north coast that has sparked concerns that we could be drastically underestimating the earthquake risk in the region. There is a seismic study that has just been published, and it is scary, I have to say. It really is scary, because now we have so many fault lines that could trigger devastation on the West Coast. It's absolutely insane, guys. So listen to this carefully, it'll blow your mind. But before this blows your mind and you're not able to click the button, could you do me a favor? Click the like and the hype button. That helps my channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to, share this video everywhere where you can with your friends. Thank you so much for doing this, guys. So concealed fault lines, they haven't seen them before. California's north coast. We're talking about Mendocino, beautiful area, beautiful rugged coastlines, right? We have cities there like Crescent City, Eureka, but also like small towns and small settlements along the coast. It's absolutely gorgeous. As soon as you come out basically of the densely populated, congested San Francisco area and you start driving Highway 1 north, it's just amazingly beautiful, I have to say. So what the scientists say, and I'm quoting a co-author of that study, Amanda Thomas, professor of Earth and Planetary Sciences at UC Davis, quote, "If we don't understand the underlying tectonic processes, it's hard to predict the seismic hazard." Exactly. And we're finding out more and more in recent time, as it seems. So the area in question is the Mendocino Triple Junction. We know the Triple Junction is a seismic hot zone in the Pacific Ocean where basically, shizzy's hitting the fizzy. 3 tectonic plates converge. We have the San Andreas Fault is ending in the north. We have the Cascadia Subduction Zone that starts in the south. And then we have the Mendocino Fault in the east. So great. Isn't this great? So 3 fault systems collide. This tectonic triple, it's a threat. It has boasts some of the highest level of seismic activity in the whole USA. It was the source of the 7.2 magnitude earthquake that has rocked Humboldt County in 1992. Humboldt County, that is this area there. But now you might say, well, what are you telling us? We already knew that. Yeah. Wait, okay? the researchers have now discovered that the triple junction that we know about is comprised of a whopping five moving plates. I have to say it again, 5. I should put that in the thumbnail. And if you're wondering, I'm always putting now my face in the thumbnail because there's so many fake AI channels with AI voice that are copying my videos and or having these stupid fake descriptions and fake thumbnails. And since this is an epidemic in YouTube, if you follow a channel that has an AI voice and these AI voices they're becoming so good that it's hard to tell, ask them to do a live. Ask them to do a YouTube live, show their face and show that when they speak that this is actually their voice. Other than that, don't trust them. They're bot farms in India. I have to say that because this is an absolute epidemic. If you look in your recommendations, you see them 1 minute ago, 3 minutes ago, and this is... Watch carefully, guys. I can just tell you this. But let's get back to that triple junction. 5 moving plates. I said, like and hype before it blows your mind. Not 3. We thought it's 3. It's 5, 2 of which are hidden from the surface. So we couldn't see it. In other words, we could be on shakier ground than previously thought, with frightening implications for the millions of people living in that region. Is what's underneath the tip, because this hidden fault line, these 2 hidden fault lines could lead to a catastrophic earthquake.
Gems und presence.
Maybe leading from the US to Canada. So what he says is, you can see a bit at the surface, but you have to figure out what is the configuration underneath. So researchers found these 5 plates. Yeah, again, like somewhat by coincidence. They have employed a network of seismometers in the Pacific Northwest to track low-frequency earthquakes deep underground where the tectonic grind against one another, to learn more about the Cascadia Fault, to learn more about the plate dynamics that could trigger the San Andreas Fault or other fault lines there. But then, guys, so the tremors that they were looking at, they're usually too small to detect at the surface. At the surface, you can't detect these tremors, right? So you need a really dense and thorough research. And they have used tidal sensitivity models to find them. And one of these tectonic threats that we now know about is a chunk actually of the North American plate. That chunk has broken off. And basically it's now being pulled down along with the Gorda plate. We've seen quite a few earthquakes at the Gorda plate recently, right? The Gorda plate is at the southern end of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. Cascadia Subduction Zone, the big frightening one, magnitude 9+ with a tsunami 100 feet, 30 meters or higher at the coast. The land will sink 6 meters, it's at 18 feet or something like that. An absolute catastrophic, devastating scenario. So what does that mean? The Gorda plate at the southern end. And the thing is, we know that one fault line can trigger the other, that smaller fault lines, branching fault lines can trigger the big one as well. So the model that they have now built proved the theorized existence, how they call it, of the pioneer fragment, they call it. That's a remnant of the ancient Farallon plate that used to traverse the California coastline, and that has not all but disappeared. So this straggler is now being dragged underneath the North American plate. And if something is dragged underneath a plate, a subduction zone. These are the most dangerous ones, Pacific Ring of Fire, with all these subduction zones. We've seen it in Japan, Tohoku earthquake. We've seen it now in Kamchatka this year, right? Subduction is happening there. Another subduction in an already dangerous subduction zone area. So, is that a good news that I can tell you now? I just say, however, the subducting surface that was discovered there of this quake-inducing like quintet, that it's not as deep as previously thought. And that would explain why the origin of the 1992 earthquake was so shallow. So shallow is not a good thing. Sorry guys, it's not. Because shallow means we feel it stronger at the surface. It shakes our homes, our buildings, everything stronger. So they had assumed that faults along the leading edge of that subducting slab, they had assumed that faults would follow the leading edge of the subducting slab. But this example deviates from that. The plate boundary seems not to be where we thought it was. That's a big takeaway from that study. So we have to see further evaluations, how this is turning out. But what we already know, at that triple junction, Humboldt County, Mendocino area, the risk is even higher, unfortunately, guys. So, but, you know, where would you move? Maybe you have seen my video that Nevada will be oceanfront. We have earthquakes in Idaho. We have earthquakes in Nevada. We have earthquakes on the East Coast. There's also other threats. I mean, let's face it, the West Coast has great climate, mild winters. It's beautiful to live there, right? So I always say, well, I moved somewhere else. I moved to Texas, which I love, but then a tornado rips down my home. So something can happen everywhere, or a hurricane in Florida. Wherever you go, guys, we have to weigh the risk and be as prepared as we can be. Check the foundations of your home, upgrade them to latest codes. This is more important than spend your money going on a vacation, right? Have a bug out bag in place, know your tsunami evacuation routes, know your local risk before you buy a home. Are you sitting on a fault line? Do your own research. Don't rely on realtors or anybody to tell you this. They won't. It's commission-based, right? Not many will. So you have to do your own research. Subscribe. I'll do it for you, I would say.